Okay, this video is called How Come I Can't Turn My Cell Phone Off? And I think it's for the same reason that you can't turn off your car GPS. I think it's for the same reason that big money wants a cashless society, because big money wants to track you. So then the question becomes, well, who is big money? And I think big money becomes the party represented by a donkey, otherwise known as the Cow, Moon, and East Party. Okay, that's what it is. And then the question is, well, why do they want to track you? And I think the reason they want to track you is because they want to reduce the, the population. And then the question is, well, why would they want to do that? And I think it goes back to a 1930s mentality. I think it goes back to eugenics. And I think it is all based on atheistic Darwinism. By the way, I've studied all this stuff extensively. Everything I'm saying here is in writing. This isn't just my ideas. This is common knowledge amongst people who've studied these topics. Okay, big money views the proles, as the term commonly used in Germany during the 1930s, as useless eaters, as life not worth living. And the phrase that commonly has been going around that they want to cull, like animals, the herd. Okay? If you look at these things in Georgia, they're stones to guide. They say the goal is to have the world population at a lower level, at about 500 million. And what that means is they want to reduce the world's population, which is a lot of people. They want to reduce it by about 95%. That's a lot. Okay, so a lot of musical chairs and not many are going to be left over is what they're claiming. Okay, so then the question is, well, how are they going to do it? Nobody knows exactly for sure, but this is what my best guess is after having studied the matter. You look at the cell phone towers, they look way more powerful than they need to be. Like there's way more electrical power going up to those things than is necessary. And they've got the power, I read somewhere, of like 300 microwave ovens, and that sounds like a zapper, like a bug zapper, and you're the bug, okay? They also remind me of this word right here. I hope you know what that abbreviation means by now. Very famous, rich, powerful guy once had said, if you control food, you control a country. If you control the money, you control the world. Okay? And the biggest problem in the world that was said was that the population's too big. And, imagine you're a billionaire. You see all these people and you say, what a waste. They're ruining the resources of the world. They're polluting the rivers, the lakes, and the oceans. They're polluting the sky. Wouldn't it be better if there were less of them? That's how billionaires think. They also use atheistic Darwinism to claim that they are gods and that other people are inferior. Americans have gone to public school, so they're brainwashed into just being clueless idiots. But the reality is, powerful people often think the less powerful are inferior to them. Okay, my father was from Ireland, and the British viewed the Irish as inferior barbarians and therefore not deserving of anything better from this world than slavery. Okay, so they basically largely enslaved the Irish for about 1,000 years. Okay. My mother's from Puerto Rico, and I can tell you when the USA sort of took over there, they were very insistent that there not be independence of Puerto Rico. And if they carried a flag, they could get, bumped off right on the spot for that, which is partly why they're so eager to wave their flag out the window in a car these days, even though that looks kind of stupid. That's why they do it. Okay, the question then will be, well, how will they know who to zap? Well, they want to get rid of 95%, which is eventually going to be just about everybody. But initially, I think their priority is going to be Christians. And I believe that's because Christians have always been hated by tyrannical rulers who think they're God, because the Christians say that there is a God and the God is above all people and that all men are equal in the eyes of God, that men are created in the image of God, therefore part divine, therefore entitled to rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and property and free speech and all that stuff, which a ruler of this type would not like. So how will they know who to zap again is the question. And here's my guess. It seems to me like there's a bunch of fake Christians coming out of the woodworks lately. Kind of like this Mr. Famous psychologist here and his wife. Kind of like this famous guy right here who does a lot of talk shows. Kind of like this other famous guy and this other famous guy. And I think those guys are all what I would call a honeypot. A honeypot means, imagine you wanted to round up all the bears in the forest. Well, it would be a cumbersome task because you'd have to go find all the bears, and that's not that easy, and it takes a lot of time. But if you put a big honey pot in the middle of a big open field, all the bears would potentially walk out to the honeypot and you could catch them very quickly. So I think that's what these fake Christians are trying to do, celebrities, to encourage people to sign up for Christian apps on their cell phones. Perhaps I'm going to guess this one, but I don't know which one it is. But I wouldn't sign up for any of them. Would be, I think, the wise thing to do. You don't need a cell phone app to be a Christian. Okay, all you got to do is say I accept Jesus Christ as my Savior. Okay, anybody could do that. You don't even need a church to do it. Okay, and this effort to reduce the population has been called the Great You Know What, and then RESET. Okay, and all these slogans you hear, pretending that the cow moon party has the emotional, moral high ground are all untrue. So when they say something, they make it sound nice, so it catches the mind of the people. It comes off initially as empowering the underdog, but when you look at it more closely, it's not a friend of the person it's spoken to. For example, let's just talk about women. They told women, oh, feminism is your friend. Feminism makes a woman toxic to a man, and then she can't get a husband. The biggest money 99% of women are ever going to get is getting a husband to give them money. It's the greatest job in the world. I wish I was married to myself. I work all day to make money, and my wife spends it all. I don't get to spend hardly any of it, and that's the way it was with my dad, and that's the way it was with most families traditionally. That's a good job, having somebody give you money every day. And also, it encourages promiscuity. So a lot of these women, they got all these sexually transmitted diseases. They're sort of not capable of being faithful, reliable wives. So their value is diminished almost zero for men. And so that's a way it actually hurts the woman in the long run, because she's not going to be able to get a husband to support her all her life. Now, don't get me wrong. She could work and support herself, but working doesn't mean you're cool. Working means you're poor. Traditionally, women have wanted to be married and raise a family. In the Victorian age, for example, the average woman had 10 children. Average number of kids per woman today, I don't even know the exact amount. I'll guess it's about 1.5 or something like that. It's not many. It's partly why women have so many dogs nowadays, because they don't have any kids hardly. But anyways, they sort of made it glorious for a woman to get a job, and they made it disgraceful to stay home and want to be a homemaker. But in reality, the opposite is what's traditionally been true. Okay? And then they've also said that regular, husband and wife heterosexual marriage is bogus, and every other type of marriage is good. This is all what has been described as a broom to sweep away the former America, a broom to sweep away the Christian tradition of this country. This country was founded as a Christian country, as you can get if you read the historians David Barton and multiple others. Anybody who studied it closely will see that. Even the so-called, not that religious Thomas Jefferson, once you actually study him, I read quite a bit about him, several biographies. He was a religious fanatic by modern standards, okay? Mr. Bible study, Mr. Bible promoter, etc. Okay, they've already built a bunch of buildings which we would call camps for, concentration. They have been called detention places, centers. And you would say, oh, well, they're going to put the illegal aliens in there. No, they're not. They're going to give the illegal aliens housing and money and other things, okay? They like them, okay? They're called the Great You-Know-What replenishment. Those detention centers, my prediction is they will be used for Americans. They will call these Americans, they'll give them a bad name of some type, whatever. They'll say, oh, that they're a dissident, oh, they're something else. They'll label them some bad word, maybe the T word, maybe the R word, who knows. They'll label something bad on them, and they're going to stick them all in there. Apparently, they're going to have a lot of guillotines. I'm not just making it up. This is all in writing, okay? Just most people don't ever read. They only go to one news channel that doesn't ever give them the whole story. You go to a bunch of other ones, you'll find all this stuff, and it's been there for years. This is nothing new. And there's even a not that long ago made medical CPT code, diagnostic code for billing to get paid for DEATF by you-know-what machine, what we just talked about. And it seems like they've been planning to do this for a long time. So you would ask yourself, well, what if that doesn't work? What if they can't pull that one off? Well, they've got a plan B. And plan B seems to pull what was happening to the Irish in the 1840s when the British starved them to death, or what happened in the 1930s when the people of that country next to the big R country were starved to death by this guy here, Stalin. They're also doing things like, if you paid any attention, I don't think meat, dairy, and eggs are healthy to eat, and I don't ever eat them, but I do like them to be there in case there's a shortage of food. Our ancestors survived the winters having those foods available. There has been a major push by the establishment to get rid of family farms. Family farms used to be a way that people would feed themselves during difficult times. family farmers, if you look traditionally through the Renaissance and the Middle Ages and stuff, whenever there was a crisis or a food shortage, those types of places did well, the rural areas where they had family farms. A lot of American farmland has been sold to foreigners, sold to big money players, taken away from traditional routes. There were, trains that were, for some reason, who knows why, tipped over, and that included spillage, where in the Midwest and a lot of important farmland, damaging those rivers and their ability to provide sustenance for the farms. Numerous food plants have, been burned, down. So anyways, I hope things get better. I really hope they do. I would love to see America free and happy. I think a return to God's going to be necessary, and I don't think the American public is willing to do that. So unfortunately, big money is winning, and I think big money, I hope it doesn't go there. But this is what big money wants. There's nothing ambiguous about it. It's been in print for decades. So let's hope it doesn't go there. Anyways, that's what seems to be going on, and I think that's why you can't turn your cell phone off. You can't just take out the battery.